Hey everyone, and welcome to a Lefty Knitter podcast. My name is Aquila, and this is my channel. This is episode 15, and it's October 28th. Yeah, Saturday. So, coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland, where I live with my husband and 2 daughters, and now 2 cats. We'll talk about more of that later. So you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as aquilladahun. Down here, this way. We have a podcast group called a Lefty Knitter Podcast, a Ravelry group. Yeah, Ravelry group, a Lefty Knitter Podcast. Not much goes on in there, but hey, whatever. So I guess we should just start right off with finished objects, and I'm wearing one. This is the So Faded by Andrea Mowry, and standing up is crazy. So I did the size 42, and I did the cropped version, but I did the cropped arms, not the cropped body, because I don't like a cropped body sweater. I don't think. I've never really made one or bought one. Maybe I'll have to try one. So, obviously Andrea Mowry, everybody knows she does all the faded stuff. I have not done any other faded projects. This is the first one I've ever done, and I did my test swatch. I could throw in a picture here. The cropped version called for 3 balls, well, no, I shouldn't say that it only calls for 3, because different sizes call for different amounts of yardage, and I had these 3 skeins that I really liked together. I did the swatch and I really liked them together. Size 3 and size 5 needles is what it calls for. I got gauged pretty close. I think I was a stitch bigger. I had an extra stitch per my gauge. So I knew the sweater was going to be a little bigger, which was great for the 42. And I like that it has enough positive ease. Pulling out all my labels here. Okay, so the first yarn is this one here. And I actually really loved the idea of having the yoke of the sweater not blend in as well with the other colors. Vaughn is here to visit. And this yarn is Rising Tide Fiber Company. I know I showed all these previously. This is called Bird Watching, and this is how much I have left. I didn't weigh it yet. The second color is Marigold Jen, and this is the Jack colorway, and this is the one I have least of left. And oops, oh my goodness. So, well, if it was balled up nicely, I have 2 little tiny balls of that left. I love that. Her yarn is really nice. It was really nice to work with. I've never knit with it before. And the third color is, I've never knit with any of these companies' yarns before, actually, except Knitting Color. I've used one of her sock blanks before, and this is the Cinder and Smoke colorway. And this is what I have left of that. So I knew I wanted to make the regular length version of the body, so I made sure I did all my body first. And then I had already faded in the sleeves, so when I started my sleeves, I knew I was just going to start with my second color. So I weighed what I had left and I split it in half. And then when I did, I weighed it so I knew how much grams I had in 1/2 of the ball. I knit 1 round, and then I weighed my yarn again to find out how much 1 row was in grams. And then I knew about how far I could go with my knitting and how much I would need to fade for 5 rows into the third color. So I did really well. I think there's only maybe 2 grams each left in each of those. And then I just did this as far as I wanted the sleeves to go, and that's what I have left in that. So I really love the sweater. I would definitely make this again, and I definitely would do it in just one color, because, or fade it with some crazy colors, who knows, because it would be fun. But I really, really, really like the fit of it. So that's my FO number 1. So finished object number 2 is my cat's chasing a fly. Oh, I got all my hair cut off. Another elephant in the room. Hair gone. If you can see it. She cut this stuff too short. I didn't want it that short. I wanted it longer. Whatever, it's hair, it grows back. So, you've seen this yarn because you saw it in an acquisition segment from Shenandoah Valley, so it might have been in the last episode. So this was that Maryland flag yarn, and I took my little tool, my whips per inch tool, and I measured it, and it came out to be a heavy worsted, possible Aran weight yarn. So I looked up patterns and I found the 75 yard Malabrigo fingerless mitts, long name. Jeanne Stevenson. I've actually made these before and I didn't even realize I had made these before until I looked at the pattern and it said it was in my projects, and I was like, oh, okay, I've made these, cool. So I had to fudge the pattern a little because the pattern's free and it calls for a worsted weight Malabrigo. So I actually still followed the same size needles, which are 7 and 8s. It calls for 8s for most of the body, for most of the glove, and then 7s for the ribbing at the top. I had to cast on like 28 stitches versus the 32 I think it called for, and because it was just way big, it was huge, it was humongous. So sorry, there's lots going on. Everybody's home today. Baby's asleep though. So these are for my husband, these are for Johnny, and I have 2, so it's not just a hoe, it is a finished object. I love this yarn. It turned out really cool. I don't think, it's definitely not a washable wool. It didn't really say on the tag exactly what it was, or it did say what it was. It didn't say if it was washable. I don't think it is. It's very toothy. It's very, it's not rough. It's fine. They'll be really warm. It had, as I was knitting with it, and I did these in a day, you could feel the lanolin and stuff on my hands. Like I can feel it now just from touching it. But this was Singleton Fiber Processing and Studio. I don't think they make yarn all the time. I think these were just special things from when they were processing some yarn that they had a lot. They had skeined up and were just selling extras that they had. I'm gonna put all my modifications in my project page. I haven't done that yet because I actually just wove in the ends this morning, and I have not put all my notes that I wrote on the pattern into the project page yet. But I definitely cast on less stitches with the round, and I did not increase as many to bind off here, as many as they called for, because then the thumb would have been massive. So my husband likes them. They fit his hands really well, and he had bought the yarn because he really liked it. It does look like the Maryland flag. I mean, it's the colors, obviously, but it's really cool looking. And I was talking about how it was 4 plies. You're not going to be able to see. But it's a ply of red and white and a ply of the yellow and black. And then they plied those 2 together. And that's really cool. I thought that was really interesting. So that's the only 2 knitting finished objects I have. I do have a crochet finished object, and I'll show you that. So the crochet finished object that I have is the Liana bracelet. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's by Shayna Shayna, I think it's Shayna, goodness, I can't pronounce the pattern or the designer, Shayna Below. And she actually reached out because I tagged the bracelet in Instagram, and she contacted me because the first time I did it, I did not read the instructions very well, and I didn't do it correctly, and I actually didn't, since it's crochet, it's easy to like rip out that last stitch and just go back. So I did rip the first one out and redo it. I had actually did the first one, left it how it was, and then I decided I'm going to try another one just to see if I read the directions wrong, and I did, so I, corrected that. These are done with, they come in 2 different weights. She has the instructions for 2 different weight yarns, and this is the Aunt Lydia's fashion crochet thread. And I believe this is considered more of a sport weight when I was crocheting with it than a fingering weight. I followed the sport weight instructions. There's fingering and sport weight. This was just a little bit thicker than I for the fingering weight, it just wouldn't have worked out right. I don't remember why. My brain's not here today, guys. It's getting close to all the holidays, and I started to stress out really bad. It's really, really bad. So I've actually, this was the second one that I did, and it's beaded. It's a beaded bracelet that you crochet. And this one, I did less strands than the pattern calls for. It calls for a total of 8. This one only has 6. And they are really cool, and I see a lot of people with these type of beaded bracelets nowadays, and I just thought it was really fun. And I'll show you like all the beads I have, and the pattern was only a couple dollars, and I had already had a bunch of beads on hand, so I didn't have to really buy any. So the first one, and I haven't finished this one yet because I did rip it out, and I just haven't woven in ends and put a button on it. But this is my second one, and this one has all 8 strands. I don't know if it's going to focus. It has these little skull beads. It's not going to focus. Focus? Nope. So, and these I did all different colors. It tells you in the pattern how to string your beads if you want each string to be a different color. This first one I did, I just used all one color from one tube. I didn't mix it up. And so this one I did, it's not going to focus, so it looks really terrible. Whatever. This used Crochet a D hook. I'm really out of it today. This is, I had my beads kind of everywhere, so I've now transferred them into something because it just is easier to find stuff. And I think even before you buy the pattern, it tells you what size seed beads to buy. It's either the 8/0s or the 6/0. I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to be read because I don't do a lot of jewelry making, but I'm assuming that's right. So the one bracelet that I was wearing was beads all from this. And I lied. I did mix in beads from this. So I'm going to put that back on. So every time it flashes on the screen. It's pretty. I know it doesn't match whatsoever, but it was matching what I wore earlier, and I changed to wear my sweater for the podcast. So I think I did a boomerang on my Instagram of it like shaking. It was pretty neat. So I have all these different beads. I had bought a couple years back a pattern to do beaded ornaments, and they got a lot of likes when I did my Christmas vlogs last year because I made a few of those for friends and family, and so that's why I have a bunch of these beads, because I use them for that. And so when I did go to the store, I did buy some of these, and those were in that that other bracelet, not the first bracelet. The first bracelet I made, I should say. So they're going to make lots of noise in the podcast, but these are all beads from that. I also had tried my hand at a little bit of jewelry making at one point, and I'm going to show you these because they're really neat looking. These are kind of like rock shaped beads. These have really tiny holes on them though. And you have to string your beads first for this project. So I don't know if these would fit over this. I think I'd have to buy an even thinner. I'd have to find a thinner, they might consider this fingering weight, but I don't think it is. But so I think these would be actually really cool in the bracelets, even if you only did one strand with the rocks, or if you did, you know, interspersed the rocks with some of the beads. It'd be kind of neat. I mean, I have like all kinds of tubes, and they're just going to make all kinds of noise. But like I said, I was using them for those Christmas ornaments. I mean, I had made like some pink and white Christmas ornaments. They were really pretty. So I like trying my hand at all different stuff, and I really liked the idea of these because everybody loves like fun, I don't want to call it costume jewelry because it's pretty. And I have some of this in other colors. So I think I'm going to make some Christmas presents and get some cooler toggle type buttons, because you're making like a loop when you do all your strands. So I think I could find some cooler toggle buttons to go with these. 7 minutes about a beaded bracelet, but they're really neat looking. She actually has a lot of beaded jewelry. She has other versions of bracelets, and she has versions of necklaces. And some of the necklaces had lots of projects on them. I don't wear a lot of necklace jewelry. I wear my two things that I wear all the time, which is my ohm, and this is my sapphire. It's my daughter's birthstone, and it's a star sapphire. So when you look at it in a certain light, there's like a star in it. It's really pretty. If it would actually show on here, but it's not going to show. So you should check out her patterns, and for the price of the pattern and the price of supplies, you could get a lot of quantity, like present wise, if you wanted to do presents out of a very small amount of money. You know, because the beads aren't really expensive, and if you have a coupon from Michaels, you can get like 50% off, and they are almost always running sales on the tubes of beads. These are beads my stepdaughter and I had bought, and we hadn't made anything with them yet. These are some of the skulls. Oh, you're not going to be able to see them, because how do you hold that up? Yeah. Skull beads. The cat will now find them and play with them. So I have a whole little tub of those because they were just on a strand and I wanted to put them into something. So this is now my jewelry / bead. I have jump rings. I have all kinds of stuff in there that I thought at one point I was going to do jewelry stuff, and that never, you know, when you're a crafter and you just want to dabble in everything, that's what happens. So you have bins of just different stuff. Like I have a wood burning tool. I have a glass cutter, because at some point I thought I was gonna do glass stuff. It's ridiculous. You definitely start jumping down all kinds of rabbit holes when you do crafts. It's dangerous rabbit holes. So that's all my finished objects. So let's go into some whips. So I've shown both of these yarns because I showed them actually last episode because I caked them up with my new ball winder because they were huge skeins. And these are the Misty Mountain Farm. And it's the prime alpaca. Oh my god, and this stuff is like so soft, it's ridiculous. I told you what I was going to make with this. I'm going to shove this back down in the center of this ball here. Or attempt to. Because, you know. So I told you guys I was going to do Tupelo Honey by Sweet Birch Designs. I actually started it. I was so confused at first by the pattern because the pattern she linked for one of the stitches that you use, she linked a video, and the video used like a 4-row repeat and her directions only had like a 2-row repeat. We had a big old discussion about it, and it worked out really well, and she actually revamped the writing in the pattern a little bit based on the conversations we had, because this is a fairly new pattern. I don't think many people have made it whatsoever. I don't know what size needle I'm using, because I didn't write it down. I think it's a 9. I think you use a size 9. So I am using these two colors. Again, I'll show you really fast. The black, and then the marled brown. And it's going to be hard to show on this also because I don't have it on large needles, like a large cable. So, let's see if I can stretch the center out so you can see. Okay, so here's the center. And there's where I'm at now. This was a cool little patterning here. This is a slip stitch pattern that I don't know if that's showing up real well. This was the part that I got really confused on, but you can actually see it's like a waffle. I can't remember. It's not waffle. Is it called waffle? This is called the honeycomb. Sorry, the honeycomb stitch. I don't know why I called it waffle. This is that part. And I screwed up when I read the directions in the beginning, and you're supposed to do like one of the patterns here and then one here for a little bit, and I switched them. I don't know what I was doing. Obviously, I don't know how to read a pattern. So there's that, and it turned out really awesome. It looks the way it's supposed to. There's another. This pattern has so much cool texture to it, and I feel like because I use this really fluffy halo-y alpaca, you're not gonna get as much as the stitch definition as like if you look at her project for it. And then that's where I'm at now. I'm totally showing this terribly. It's going to be really cool looking though, and it's going to be super warm, and it's going to be super big because it's a very large shawl. So that is Tupelo Honey. This other whip that I have, I also showed last week, and I really flubbed up trying to explain what the heck I was doing because it's not a real pattern. And I'm just kind of making it up as I go. But the yarn I'm using, we'll talk about, is Savvy Skeins. And this is the Where the Sidewalk Ends colorway. There it is. It's starting to get a little messy. And the other yarn I'm using for toes and heels is Yahuane. I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Yahune yarns? I don't know. This is one of her minis that I bought. I can't do anything today, and I'm talking really low, and it's probably going to come up really soft in the podcast. This was the Merlot colorway, and that's this little guy here. So I have a half object. I wove in the ends this morning. I wove in the ends on a bunch of stuff that I had that I needed to do. So, this is top down. I'm using 9-inch circulars. I'm using size US 1s. I was here last time. I was almost ready to start my heel. And I am doing this spiraling with the pearls. So there's 64 stitches in my sock, and every 8 stitches this purl stitch moves. So I was trying to explain this last time. And on this sock, I did a 1x1 rib. You can see the 1x1 rib. And then I had stitch markers. And at the stitch markers at every 8 stitches. Actually, I'm doing them every 16 stitches because I don't need that many stitch markers. The 8 row repeat. 8 rows, yes. The first stitch I purled, knit 7 stitches. Purled 7. Knit 7. Purled 1, knit 7. All the way around. Then I knit 1, purled 1, knit 7. Knit 1, purled 1, knit 7. Repeated that. So you did one whole repeat of 8 rounds, and then you start over. I have my notes because I did 9 repeats of that in the leg. I did a German short row heel, which I've never done before. I got some gapping, more on this side. I don't like that, but it was my first time ever doing it, so I'm hoping maybe on the second sock I will be able to tighten that up a little. And then I only did 8 repeats on the foot. The bottom of the foot, I didn't do any of the spiraling, only on the top of the foot. So I don't even know if you can see it that well in this yarn, because the yarn also micro stripes, and I love that. And then I just did a regular toe decrease. So I talked about doing it the opposite way when I did the other sock. And I was like, how do I do that? I totally was flubbing up. I don't know. I don't know why my brain wasn't functioning that day either. Maybe my brain just doesn't function ever. I don't know. So here's my second one, guys. I did the cuff. It's 20 rounds, I believe I'm doing for the cuff, because I wanted a big, massive cuff. And then on this one, I am going the opposite direction. So I knit 7 stitches, purled 1, knit 7 stitches, purled 1, and then it goes backwards. So my purl moves to 7, so I'm knitting 6, purling 1, knitting 1, then repeating that around the sock. And then it goes to knit 5, purl 1, knit 3. Yes, that should be right. But you get what I'm saying. So now it's spiraling in the opposite direction. I don't know if you can tell. If it wasn't on the sock blocker, you can actually really, really see the spiraling better. So you can see that it's spiraling this way in the sock, and this way in the sock. So I thought that was fun. This one's a lot darker at the top, which is okay. A lot more color, speckling. My socks don't have to be matchy-matchy. So I am 1, 2, 3, 4 repeats in. So I have 5 more to go before I do my second German short row heel ever. We'll see if I like it. And I also don't know, doing it on circular needles. I don't know doing any heels on circular needles I would like. I actually think if I'm going to continue to do any socks on my little 9-inch circulars, I'm going to just do tubes and do cut-in afterthought heels, because doing a heel on this is incredibly difficult. I don't like it. I don't know how, if I'm pretty sure Amy from the Periscoping Sisters, she knits like all her socks on little 9-inch circulars. I'm not sure if she then supplements and uses like a DPN, like 2 DPNs, and does her sock heel back and forth. I don't know how she does her heels. Maybe she cuts in all her heels. I'm not sure. But I don't love it. Maybe if it was a heel flap and gusset, I would like it more. Then it would be a lot of stitches on there. But I don't love it. I don't love doing heels on the 9-inch circulars. I've actually been supplementing with some DPNs to help do that. But it's coming out great, and there's my little pumpkin. He's my beginning of round marker. I love him. And so there's my I don't have second sock syndrome, guys. I am pushing through. I really love this yarn. I think this is just, it's just beautiful. Sorry, I took it off the sock blocker, but it's really pretty. I love the yarn. This yarn is really nice to work with. I think it's going to be a really super sturdy sock yarn, and it's an 80-20, and so it has less nylon than like a 75-25, but it feels really, really sturdy. Like it's going to hold up really, really well. So that is everything I have to show you that I have made. Oh, I'm lying. I can show you some sewing, some crafting for Halloween costumes, and you guys may have seen some of my Instagram stories of my, what word do I use? My frustration with sewing and trying to figure out how to even make these costumes. So let's show you that real quick. I'll pop in pictures of us wearing the costumes. All the pictures I'll try to pop in just at the end of the video because it's easier and I can remember to do that. So when I asked my 2-year-old what she wanted to be for Halloween, she kept going between Bubble Guppies and Elsa. And that was pretty much what she kept saying for her theme of her birthday party. So we went with Bubble Guppies. Hey, why did we do this? It's ridiculous. So she said she wanted to be Una. That's Una. In case you don't know what Bubble Guppies are, you don't have little ones around. My husband got a Nani costume. My other daughter is Molly. And I decided I'm going to be the girl that's left, and that's Una. No, I already said Una. That's Dima. Guys, I bought all this fabric. I bought all this stuff, and it's not very easy. So we'll start with, here's the Pom-Pom Makers, because I can't just color my hair like everyone else with spray. I made a beanie, crocheted a beanie. I made a lot of pom-poms. I bought a like 1 pound Karen ball of yarn. Yeah. I wasn't sure how to make it work, so I did this. It's ridiculous. These Pom-Pom Makers saved my life. I never had any, so I was like, Now I bought them, I had coupons, so I got them 50% off also. There we go. I'm not putting this on. Look for the pictures at the end, because I have braids in my hair and I'm just not trying to, go nuts with this. So there's my wig. Because they don't really have shirts, they have tube tops, and we bought plain white, Vaughn, don't jump. Yeah, Bud, stay down there. We bought plain white cotton shirts, and I actually made a tea bag dye and dyed them to be closer to flesh color versus, say if it was white, like bright, bright white. It would be terrible. My cat just jumped on the table. So all of us have long sleeve because you never know if Halloween's going to be cold or hot. We wore them to a friend's kids party and we were sweating to death. It was terrible. Nani wears goggles, so it's felt on safety goggles. And I'm not going to hold all these up because it would be just kind of ridiculous. So we'll just go with, I'm dropping everything. This fabric, let me tell you, because it's like super stretchy, I don't even know what this is called. I cut out all the pieces. I made tube tops for my daughter and I cut out all these little pieces and I sewed all these little pieces on by hand. I should have just done some Stitch Witchery magic, but I didn't. And then everybody's has fins at the bottom because we're guppies. And I wasn't sure how to make that work. And then I decided to bug friends and family for metal hangers, which you don't see very often anymore because everything's plastic. So at the bottom of the skirts, they have a slit. and they have wire hangers that I did not sew in. I hot glued them in terribly. You don't see it. It's fine. If I can hold that up better. So we look pretty ridiculous when we walk, and it's, yeah. Next year, we're getting store-bought Halloween costumes because this stuff was not fun to sew. It took me about 2 hours for each costume. My youngest, hers is like a full length. It's like full length from, look, I got like hot glue strands attached to me. Hers starts like a strapless dress. So, yeah, I'm ridiculous. I'm ridiculous. And she has a little Brett that goes in her hair that I just made out of felt. I don't even know where it went. It's on the table somewhere. I have a hot mess going on. Oh, here. Oh, that was terrible. Little Brett, because she has a little Brett in her hair. So yes, we are bubble guppies. My husband would not allow photographs, so it's only going to be us girls in the picture. Plus, he also said he wasn't shaving his beard, so I was like, you're just grown up Nani, I guess. So, yeah, there's our bubble guppy costumes. So the acquisitions I have, I'm very excited about because I have one skein of her yarn. I bought it at Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. I have not knit with it yet, and I love it. And I am excited to knit with it, I just haven't. She was having a second sale. So, on the round is the dyer. And I'm assuming when a skein is not the way she wants it to be, or something happens, like a speck of the wrong color gets in there, she'll still skein it up. And she puts the slash mark, so she knows it's her seconds. And then I believe it's twice a year, and maybe it's more. Rachel, I believe, is her name, and I apologize. I think yeah. She does a second sale. All of her skeins of yarn are 50% the original price. Can't beat that, right? Like 50% off. I bought 5 skeins. I have been wanting to make the Sunset Highway. As soon as I saw that pattern come out, I believe that's Caitlin Hunter, Sunset Highway. As soon as I saw that pattern come out, and I follow her on Instagram, I had to, I wanted to make this. I knew I had nothing in my stash. I didn't have any yarn in my stash that would go all together as one sweater. So when I saw this, I jumped. I totally jumped ship on whatever I was doing, and I stopped and bought yarn. So I bought 5 skeins, and as you know, most people have seen this sweater. The body is like one color, there's all this color work in the yoke, and then there's like a color work section in the arm somewhere. And it's like 3 colors for that, and 1 color for like the rest of the body. So my main body color, I'll just start there. And these are all, this is a single, all the others are plied. So these, I believe, this is Everyday Light. And I admired this color a lot previously, and I just didn't, I had a budget for sheep and wool, so I was being conscious. So this is her Everyday Light. It's a single ply, 425 yards, superwash merino wool. Sunshine in My Pocket colorway. And it's beautiful. So this is going to be the body of my sweater. So I probably will have to do some color management. And every 2 rows, switch it up. Then my other 3 supplemental colors, I think these are all on the same base. Nope, I'm lying. 2 of them are on Everyday Fingering. This is her Superwash Merino, 425 yards, and it's a 2-ply. Greenery and Primrose. And then the third, 3 bases. It's okay though. It's fine. Third base is her signature sock yarn, and it is a Superwash Merino 80/20 nylon, and it's a 3-ply 410 yards. And signature sock. This is Smoky Quartz. So I think, you can tell I like orange. I think that'll be a really cool looking sweater. I'm not sure of the order because I haven't bought the pattern yet, and I haven't really like looked at other, well, I've looked at other people's, but I haven't really thought about which like color placement. So I think I ended up paying with shipping, it was like $75 for 5 skeins. Like, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. Not for a sweater. Not when I know this one was probably, I mean, I could look at the tags and see if there's prices on each of these. No, no price. That was $27, but I got it on sale. And this was $25, so right there I'm at $52. Plus probably another at least $20. So that's $72 just in this sweater. I mean, you know how expensive it is to get a sweater's quantity of yarn. And I know Sunset Highway was just a lot more yarn because it is full-length sleeves. I guess you could do it shorter. And you need so many, you need all the colors because you can't, it wouldn't be the Sunset Highway if you didn't have the yoke color work. Like, I could get away with making this sweater and not do the fade and make it a lot cheaper. Because you can get, you know, plain tonal yarns cheaper. So when I saw it and I said I could get my Sunset Highway for like $75, I had to do it. I mean, this you can see has these cool brown tones, which I thought looked cool with the green, and I thought it pulled out some of the browns. You know, you see a little bit of brownish colors. It's just, they're so pretty. And her stuff goes super quick when she puts up her seconds for sale. Okay. So life stuff. We went to Weber's Farm, which is a local farm for us, and we got pumpkins.
Yeah.
Apple cider donuts. It was really hot. October has been unseasonably warm. It's been terrible.
Yeah.
We put up Halloween decorations.
They look like shit.
You are just a miserable person right now. No, they don't. They don't look terrible. We'll do better next year. We have to step our Halloween game up. That's all.
Yeah.
So we painted and carved pumpkins, and my mom came and had a good time. Her and the baby had a good time.
Yeah.
John used power tools, and I posted that on Instagram.
Nobody cared.
Well, this is gonna be fun. John's not being fun today. Yeah. So at the beginning, I said we have 2 cats. We went to, my husband really, I mean, we all miss Roxy. She was our little girl cat, and she was just she was a love bug. I mean, he's a love bug to me, but she was a love bug to, like, everyone. And so my husband was having a lap cat, and we decided to go and adopt. We weren't sure if we were looking for more of young, like kitten, like 1 or 2, or adopt an older cat. So we decided to go to Barks, and Barks is a no-kill shelter here in Baltimore City, and it's right near my work. It's right near Ravens Stadium and the casino, so John got off work early, picked up the 2 girls, and I left work just a little bit early. They had gotten there like way before I did and already toured all the rooms. And so by the time I got there, they had already fallen in love, and which was fine by me. Barks actually had just taken in a hoarding case, and because of that, they needed space. And what they did was they were having no-fee adoptions, and so that's why we really decided to go there versus anywhere else. I still would have paid for a cat an adoption fee. Some of the places around here, there's a place I had called, it was like $150. You had to take a class and all this other stuff, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, these animals just need homes, and I know we're a good home, and I know they have to screen. They want to screen well, and I understand that, but you know, they just need a loving home. So when I got there, they pointed out a kennel, and it was a 7-year-old girl. They approximate her age. I don't know if they knew the exact birth year. We don't have a birth date, so we'll be celebrating her adoption date. And so she is a tortie / a calico, and I know there's all kinds of so many names for all the different and coat types. I think when I did my searching, they call her coloring is like a diluted tortie, I think. So her name was Galaxy at the shelter, and that didn't fit. That didn't fit at all. On the way home, I was in a separate car. They were brainstorming in the other car, and one of the names they really liked was Mia. And so we now have a Miss Mia Wallace. And some people will get the reference, and some people won't. And so, yeah, I'll post pictures of her at the end. All morning, she was out and about, and it took us a while. We had them separated for a while. My boy is 12, and he could be grouchy. He's never been one to like go to the vet and not hiss at everything. So finally, we've been letting her roam everywhere, and they will stop and hiss at each other, but it's not. They were actually both on the couch together today with a person in between them. So and no hissing. So that was really good. So I'll post pictures of her, since I couldn't find her to actually like put her face on the camera. Her coat's a little rough. She was surrendered because the owner said that she couldn't take the cat with her wherever she was going. She's also got a clipped ear, which means at some point she was an outside cat. They caught her, fixed her, and back on the streets. Because here, and I know lots of places, I believe, they will catch, fix, and release to try to keep the cat population to as minimal as possible, because cats breed like crazy. And she's a sweet girl. Her coat's a little rough. I believe that just with some time and some love and some brushing, she will be softer. She may never go. She may never have been as soft as our other cat. We don't know. So she's in a loving home. She loves belly rubs. She's not been the lap cat that my husband was hoping for, but in time that still might happen. So, yay. So we got a kitty, and other than that, like Rhinebeck happened. We had other stuff going on, so we didn't go to Rhinebeck, but it was awesome seeing everybody's videos and pictures, and you know, it's really cool. I heard stories from India Untangled and how crazy it was, and that Needles Up was a huge success, and that they are going to try to do, or they are going to have their first Needles Up at Maryland Sheep and Wool. It is going to be on a Friday during the day though, and I'm just not going to be able to make that unless I take the day off Friday. So I don't know, it's months away because that's the first weekend in May, so I'll decide then. Other than that, there is the Maryland Alpaca and Fleece Festival, which is also held at the fairgrounds where Maryland Sheep and Wool is held. And actually that means I'll be coming up on my 1-year YouTube channel anniversary, because the first thing I posted ever was a vlog from the Alpaca Festival. So it depends. Some days it's really nice and warm, and sometimes it's super cold. So it's a much smaller festival. They still have lots of cool vendors, not as many because it's just not as big. And if you have nothing else to do that day, you can wear all your hand knits and walk through all the barns and see animals. And well, some animals, they don't bring a ton, I think, because of the weather. Sometimes it's too cold. But there's still vendors, and you can shop your heart away when you're wearing all your hand knits. So that's pretty fun. And then they have hot chocolate and, you know, stuff like that. So maybe I'll have another video out before then. If not, then it's going to be a recap of the Alpaca Festival. So the holidays are all coming up. I start getting crazy stressed, and I want to craft all the things for people, and that just gets really dangerous because I know that's not going to happen. Those bracelets will happen because they're really fast. Like if I just beaded or strung all the beads, as many as I could for all the bracelets, the crochet is really fast. The beading takes longer than the crocheting. So yeah, maybe that's what I'll do while the baby's finishing her nap. I'll start beading up or stringing up a bunch of beads for some bracelets. Get something done. Maybe work on my sock. Michaela's birthday is tomorrow, so I have a present to wrap. We're going to Red Lobster. That's what she wanted, Red Lobster. So, yeah, tomorrow will be fun. And then Halloween is Tuesday. And then my husband and Michaela are going to... You're going to a concert, right? Wednesday? Yeah. A Perfect Circle. They're going to see A Perfect Circle. So, and that's a little bit of a drive, so, in crazy traffic. And so they'll be leaving early. It's going to be a busy week. So, I hope everybody's having a great, if you celebrate Halloween, has a great Halloween. And, yeah, until next time, knit happy. Enjoy any holidays that come before my next video, and I'll see you then. Bye!